You've got the Tall Blacks tomorrow. I just want to know, does this team get a perspective of New Zealand's such a small country and some of them will never play in the NBA, some of them will never get to play the biggest team in the world, the USA. Do you get an understanding of how much your presence means to a lot of the opposition that you play?
Yes. Having been an assistant coach in 2 different tournaments in 19 and 21 with Coach Pop, this one thing we learned was what a big deal it was for our opponents every time they face us, because it's a chance to go against 12 NBA players they've watched and seen, and a chance to beat the United States. So we know how hard every team's going to play. New Zealand plays hard every game no matter what. They're really impressive on tape, just the energy, the force they play with. But we're expecting an especially big effort against us.
In the 2 games that you've had in this exhibition season that were close, you guys had trouble rebounding.
Yeah.
And you typically play smaller. So how does this team, guard against the size disadvantage and even that up on the glass?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Even tomorrow against New Zealand, they're going to crash 5 guys all the time. So, they're not as big and physical as Germany, but they're going to have a similar mentality. And so it's a point of emphasis every practice, boxing out, making sure we recognize what we're facing. And then I think for us as a staff, we have to figure out lineups. And I like the versatility we have. We can play Bobby or Paolo at the 4 if we want to get a bigger lineup out there to deal with some of the rebounding stuff that we may face. And so it's really a collaborative effort, to be aware, but also for us to make sure we're putting the right lineups out there.
You're playing Jaren at the 5. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really do that in the NBA. How different is this for him to be asked to be more of a rebounder, I guess?
Yeah, and not just the rebounding, but the diving, out of pick and rolls. He's used to popping. He's got Steven Adams or Tillman, in the paint a lot. So a lot of times with Memphis, Jaren will pop. But with us, we're asking him to roll every time because he's playing the 5 and because he's such a force in there. When he rolls, he either scores or draws a defender and creates some space for a teammate. So it's a little bit of a shift for him, but he's doing great. He's really taking to the coaching, as are all these guys, and he's really committed to doing the job.
Do you think you guys are the favorites to win this tournament?
I honestly don't know. I know we're one of them, and we should be. But there's some great teams. Last time through this tournament, we finished 7th. We lost 3 games, I think. We recognize how hard this is. These are not the days of, 1992. There's a reason there's over 100 foreign players in the NBA. There's a reason foreign guys win MVP year after year. It's a global game, and there's great teams. So we may be one of the favorites, but I don't think anybody's clear-cut. I think there's a lot of teams that have a shot at this thing.
There's other first-team All-NBA players who are on other teams in this event. There may be a perception that the U.S. didn't send its strongest team. Is there maybe a message to be sent that your team is stronger than maybe the superstar names or maybe elsewhere?
I don't worry about messaging. I just worry about what we can control. I love our team. I love the way these guys are playing together, the way the ball moves, the energy. These guys are hungry. They're committed. Every practice, they're going hard. So I just know it from a coaching standpoint. This is a great team to coach, and I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing every day.
Yesterday that Mark had the scout. Obviously, the assistants all have a game. And you were in that role a couple of years ago. How hard is it for a head coach to go back in time? And how have they done so far?
Yeah, it really is a unique dynamic in FIBA. As a head coach in the NBA, you're not used to doing scouts, rebounding pregame. For me, this is not a joke, but I got tennis elbow in 19 from passing all the time. I'm used to doing media pregame, going through the film. I'm out there passing to Kevin and Draymond and Jayson Tatum. And like day 3, I'm like, I have tennis elbow. Like, what happened to me? So same thing as, these guys are healthier than I am apparently, but Ty and Eric, Mark out there pregame, making passes, going through the scouts. It's a new experience, but it's something that I really enjoyed, and I know our guys are enjoying it too.
The stuff Raymond makes you do isn't so bad, is it?
That's right. That's right. I'm now all of a sudden I have a newfound respect for Raymond.
How do you compare this team with a team of 19?
Well, it's similar in that 19 was a very young team. We had Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, just as they were emerging. We had some vets like Harrison Barnes and Brooke Lopez, Mason Plumlee. We had a good mix of young players and vets, but every team is different. This team is probably more of a passing team. I think that team had some really great individual scorers. We struggled with injuries. Jayson Tatum going down really hurt us that year. But that's, I think, what's very unique about USA basketball is we have a new team every year. It's very rare that we bring back the same group of guys or even the same core of guys. So that's the challenge. You have 12 new players, and you have to try to help them prepare in a few weeks, and then you see what you can do.
Do you feel that this is the main issue for Team USA compared to other international programs? That there is not the continuity that you see in other national teams?
Well, it's an issue for a lot of teams. It's not just us, especially now with the World Cup and the Olympics being played back-to-back. You see a lot of star players on other teams that aren't playing. So we're not the only team that has a new group. It's always a challenge in an international competition. You only have a few weeks to practice and prepare. That's part of the challenge, and we're really embracing it. It's a lot of fun. It's a different style of coaching. You got to install things quicker. You also have to keep things really simple. Otherwise, you overload the players with information. So it's a fun challenge, and we're really enjoying the process.